What motivates motivational people? We want to tackle that today. I'm joined by Beth today. We see so much sugar hit stuff on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, like TikTok, just those, those ones, and you're scrolling at night and you're going, oh, that's awesome. Then we go to the next one. Oh, that's awesome. We go to the next one. What we wanted to bring you today were our top 3 each. Beth has 3. I've got 3. These are not just sugar hits. These are ones that have really stuck and like almost have become like mantras in our office or whatever. And if they stuck, I think there's some incredible depth to them. So that's today's episode. Welcome to another episode of Lone Recruiter Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Clemenson. Let's get stuck into it. So Beth, do you want to go first?
I'm happy to go first.
Okay, wonderful. Hit me with your best motivational sugar hit piece.
All right. This one, it's actually something I've been doing for a long time, but I saw it in a video recently and it just cemented something I've believed for ages. So the quote is, discipline is the greatest form of self-love. And I'll read the full one, but discipline is the strongest form of self-love. It's ignoring something you want now for something better later on. Discipline exposes your commitment to your dreams, especially on the days you don't want to do it. So this is something I've kind of believed for a long time, in that if I say no to that, dessert or something when I'm trying to lose weight, or if I make the hard call, or if I do something I don't want to do now, I'm not ignoring current Beth. I'm feeding future Beth.
I love that. Because discipline's such a boring word. We actually think about discipline. It is the connotation's a little bit drab. It's like
oh, you're so boring.
Day in, day out, and discipline is essentially if you want to chase a goal, it's saying no to stuff, isn't it? Essentially, what are you giving up? And Mark's always said that. What are you giving up?
Yep.
What are you going to give up if you want to chase that goal? It's fuck. I don't want to give anything up. But that's it. If you want to increase your billings, if you want to get better at something, you've got to give up something. And that might just be Netflix time.
Yep.
That might be something as simple as sleeping in.
Yep. Oh, it's not even giving up something. It could be committing to doing something. So we had Sean in here and he talked about the promise muscle. And it's you might really not want to go to the gym that day, but you've promised yourself you're going to the gym. So you do it. You have discipline. You hate every fucking minute of it, but you do it because future Beth is going to thank you for that.
I mean, it kind of feeds into the one I wanted to bring up, which it's a more recent one, but again, it's on that line of continuous momentum. How am I moving forward today? Because we all have shit days. And that's again what discipline's great for. When we don't rise to our goals, we fall to our
habits,
systems and habits, right? And so discipline is that.
Yeah.
It's going, today I'm doing this, even though I don't want to do it. Right, because future me will be happy I did it. Mine is quite similar to that, and it's when I watched it, this guy on his video, he was so energetic, and when you feel the passion in one of those videos, you go, oh, and there's the music or whatever, but when you actually break it down, you're like, this is actually fantastic, because I'm going to read it out to you because I love it. I'm obsessed with this one at the moment, and he's like, it's so easy. This is in the context of gym, right? He's like, it's so easy to say, I don't have 90 minutes to do the perfect workout today, therefore I'm not going to do it. Fuck it, I'm not going to do it. I don't have 90 minutes. And it's it's on these actions. Let's say your goal is to go to the gym for 90 minutes. Set your ceiling, set your floor, right? So on a perfect day, your ceiling is what's the best freaking workout I can do? It's a 90-minute workout followed by an ice bath with some gratitude and some meditation and whatever, eating perfect, da-da-da. That's my ceiling. That's the gold standard I'm going for. But you know what? My floor is, fuck it, I can get 100 push-ups done in 5 minutes and I can do gratitude in about a minute and a half flat. There, I've ticked the box, let's go.
You've done something.
I've done
You've
something.
Still done something.
Right? And it's not, and it's better than nothing, and that's the point.
Yep.
It's it's too easy to go, that goal's way too big and grandiose. I just do not feel like doing it today. But guess what? I can do X, Y, Z in about 10 minutes and I can tick the box and I can at least continue my momentum forward because I just don't feel like it today. That happens, right?
100% happens. And I actually really like that because I think as a society, like we've got this weird emphasis that things have to be perfect. You either do something perfectly or you don't do it at all. And I'm like, nothing in life is ever perfect. Sometimes it's better to do something messy, or even if it's half-assed, you've still done it.
Half the time you don't feel like doing it, you start the thing you don't want to do and you end up doing it anyway. Because I just need to get going.
Yeah.
Right? We've all been, but I'm just obsessed with this ceiling and floor. So like I'm now kind of taking that into my work desk. So I'll go, okay, if today if my perfect day is all this stuff, I can get 5 podcast episodes done. I can headhunt 3 people. I can canvas 2 people. Like I look at it and go, I have to maximize and squeeze every single minute of that day. But then like life hits you. I get a low blood sugar. My mum calls. Like, distractions come in. I set a floor.
Yep.
It's like but my bare minimum is this.
Yep.
So always make sure the bare minimum's ticked, and then I keep reaching for the ceiling.
I really like that. I think that would be a really good one to apply to just how to write a good to-do list as well. Because
100%.
if you can just have 3 or 4 things that if you're going to have a great day, they're your bare minimum to get done. It's like you've had a good day. Everything else is extra.
It. And I've done episodes on this before because to-do lists are literally infinite. and we have a tendency to remember the things we don't finish.
Yes.
And not remember the things that we do finish, which puts us in a perpetual state of stress and underachievement.
Yep.
Right? And that's science-backed. It's crazy. Yep. So this floor ceiling thing, it just makes you end the day feeling great. I got momentum. Anyway, I'm obsessed with that one at the moment.
No, I like that one.
Try and beat that one.
Oh, I don't know if it's going to beat it, but it's one that I believe very strongly in. And it's one that I had to be reminded of by my husband recently. And it's trust the process. Because I'll give you my backstory. I've been going to the gym. I've changed my schedule. I've upped my schedule. My goal is to be stronger, but also shed a bit. I should shred. What's the word? Shed. It's like shedding my skin like I'm a snake.
I'm a snake.
But I'm in that awkward phase at the moment where like my body's just gotten bigger, but like the shredding part hasn't happened yet. And so I was getting really down the other day because I'm like, this isn't matching my goals. I'm not happy. And my husband just very like clearly pointed out, you're not trusting the process. Like you knew your body was going to change during this, and you knew that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take like a good 6, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. And I think it's just one you can apply to so many things, because in recruitment in particular, like there is a defined process that you know has to happen. It doesn't always happen perfectly, but you got to trust it.
And that's it, right? And the metric for success in recruitment really is billing, right?
Yeah.
And that's at the end of the process.
Yeah.
So how often do you get halfway through your month, halfway through your quarter, halfway through your process, and you feel like giving up because you haven't got the runs on the board? But you're right. And it also implies you need a process.
You need a process, 100%.
And it may highlight you don't have one.
Yep.
Trust the process. I don't have one. Well, fuck.
You're in trouble.
Maybe that's your problem.
But even for what I do, like I do the marketing for this podcast, for ALRA, for, social media and everything. And sometimes I look at, the vanity metrics, likes, followers and all that stuff. And I'm like, they're not where I need them to be or where I want them to be. I've got to remember that's a process as well. Like I've got to trust that if we keep putting good content out there, that we keep trying to optimize it as best we can, it's going to happen.
I like that. I do like that. Geez, we're all about discipline, process, to-do list. I mean, there's obviously something in that, right? Because I think that for me, these sugar hits it's how do you relate to them? Because they're words of wisdom, and they ring true and they feel great to hear them. They hit hard and heavy. But, if you can't land them in your world, they're not any use to you, are they?
Yeah, you got to anchor them. And I think that's where, like, a lot of people go wrong, or if it's a wrong thing for motivation, is that they listen to all the quotes and they want to do all these things, but they don't actually anchor them with what that means to them.
Or do the work.
Yeah.
Man, I got a couple here. I mean, we all love. This is not even a saying. This is like a mantra to live by, and it's I've stuck with me for many, many years now. So we all know Tony Robbins. Right, he's the guru for mindset and shifting your thinking and squeezing the best out of life. And I just love his little hacks. The hack that really has stuck with me is he talks about when you're in state. So, when you're in the flow, you're in the state, let's think of a good example. Like, we're talking about the gym, I want to lose weight. I think everyone at some point in their life has either said, I want to go to the gym and lose weight, or I want to go to the gym and put muscle on. I think everyone listening to this has had that at some point, right? When you're in that state of mind, you're either upset with yourself or something's triggered you to go, I really just got to get this done. It might be a health scare, it might be a blood test. There is a reason that people say, I need to get to the gym at some point in their life, a heart attack moment, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with that is our body doesn't like feeling uncomfortable. And when you're in that state of, I need to go to the gym, you're uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, you want to do something about it. But you're not going to literally get up and go to the gym in that moment. You're probably on a train somewhere or in a doctor's office or at your parents' house or whatever. So he says, when you're in state, making this decision, they're like, fuck this, I'm going to the gym. In that moment, what you can do is book an appointment or book something that will chase you. So if it's the gym as a great example, I need to go to the gym, call a trainer at that moment or email a trainer at that moment and say, I need a session. They will call you in 3 days' time and say, hey, let's do that thing. When you've given up on that goal, when you've already gone and moved past it, you don't feel bad anymore because your body's gone, no, I'm going to rather eat chocolate. That feels better.
Oh, I love chocolate.
Yeah, we love chocolate. But I love that. So when you're in state, and I've literally, whenever and you feel it with me, like when I'm in a mood to, like with an idea or something, I'm like, what do we got to book now so that we don't lose this? Because this is the good energy. I feel it right now, but I'm going to go back to my desk and I'm going to get smashed with candidates, clients, staff, whatever, and I'm going to forget about this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just means I'm distracted.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I've been to a Tony Robbins, the 4-day
conferences.
That's right.
Like,
and he's very good at getting you in state, and you do some amazing things when you're in that position.
You walked on coals.
Yeah, I did. Walked on the hot coals, which is not something I'd ever thought I'd do or necessarily I'd ever wanted to do. But when I was in that state, I was like, yes, this is amazing. I'm going to do this. And I agree, because very rarely when you're in that mode do you necessarily book the things or think ahead. You're thinking about the now. But if you then get to the point where you're ahead and you haven't booked anything, chances are you're not in the same mood. You're not in the same mode, and you won't have that level of motivation that you had when you made the decision.
That's it.
I think it's a great one.
Yeah, I like it. What do you got for me?
All right, this is one that I think some people won't like it, but it's one that has always resonated with me, and it is happiness is a choice. And I know some people go, oh, but like, no, it's not. Bad things happen, and I can't help it. Like, maybe they don't have great mental health. I totally understand that. But for me, happiness has always been a choice. And sometimes it is the hardest bloody choice you will make in a moment, multiple moments throughout the day, throughout your whole life. Like I've got a young son that's already struggling with mental health problems, and I'm trying to help him with that. And I can see how hard that choice is for him sometimes. But the reason I like this one is that if you can believe happiness is a choice, it eventually becomes one that you start to make. But there is a caveat that goes along with that, in that, yes, happiness is a choice, but the choice means nothing if you're not willing to do the work that goes along with it. Because it's not like you can just come and go, I'm going to be happy today.
Well, it's about taking, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, stuff happens.
Yeah.
So, like, again, in the flow of making a deal or a placement, your candidate takes the counter offer, or they take an option that's not through you. They're happy. You're not.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean it's an unhappy situation. They got a really great result. At the end of the day, we're here to get them into a better situation, and they got that. So that in itself made me start going, I'm happy for them. Like it and it's not about me. And that's a choice.
It's a choice.
You stop feeling shitty about that stuff. Yep. Or, think that when you say this, happiness is a choice, and someone who's a pessimist will just laugh, like, just think you're a dickhead.
Yes.
But, there's so many things around that come to mind, like comparison is the thief of joy. And that's it, right? Like, I'm unhappy in this. Like, if you're potentially unhappy in a situation, it's because you're not achieving what you thought you would achieve. The outcome's not what you expected, right? Or you're not quite where you thought you'd be, or you're comparing yourself to someone else. And like all this stuff is so frivolous. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe we just switch it slightly. So like, how can I choose to be happy in this moment?
Happiness is a choice. Yeah, and that's the depth to it. It's
That's
like,
the
how do I
depth,
choose to be
yeah.
happy right now? What's the silver lining? What's the positive here?
Yeah, because there's always going to be crap that happens. Like, there's always negative moments in life.
And choosing to be happy. And again, I love digging down under this stuff. Let's just say, like, your mum passed away. You're going to be so sad.
Yeah,
You can't be happy in that moment. You can't. But what you can do is allow your body to feel the grief.
Yeah.
Allow your body to really process what's happened, because too often as well, I'm guilty that you bury stuff and you don't acknowledge it, you don't process it, and then you're actually,
these things have a way of coming out.
they do, and you're actually not choosing happiness because it's going to drag out.
Yep.
You know,
You deal with it, and eventually you get to a point where you go, hey, my mum lived a great life, and I loved all the moments I had with her, and then that's how you bring kind of the positivity back into that scenario. You'll still always miss that person.
But even within work, I know Ryan Serhant's I've quoted him a few times. I think he's a great salesman. He's roughly our age in America, does property. He has this thing where deal goes south, and they're big deals. Like I'm talking millions of
Lots
bucks.
of money.
He's just missed out on a boat. Like this isn't just small price stuff. And he'll say he'll allow himself to be upset for 10 minutes. And then he has to move on. What he does and his anchor for that, because it's easier said than done, right? He actually delays his grief for a month. He'll take the perceived grief of losing the deal, and he says, "Will I care about this in a month?" The answer is probably no. But what he does is he actions into his calendar the deal fall away and says, "I didn't make this deal. How do I feel now?" And he's like, "I'll ask myself and I'll process it in a month." And he said, it always comes up in the calendar, and he's like, "Which one?" Which deal? Like he's completely forgot. He's on to the next. And I think that's another way of choosing happiness, isn't it? It's like,
yeah. I
being really
think
aware.
everything feels very, very dramatic in the moment, right? But there's very few things you look back on now and go, oh yeah, I'm still really unhappy about that.
I have two here, but I've got three more here actually, but I can only do one more.
What's it going to be? What's the choice, Brett? It's got to be good, no pressure.
All right. I think the one it's 3 words. I have one that's 3 words, and it's on the flavor of how your words have so much power, and it's about the voice in your head. It's about the narrative you tell yourself. It's about the story that you convince yourself is happening, right?
Yep.
And those 3 words, you've heard me say this before.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Is it true? Is it true? It is such a... What's a great example of this? Like, I just can't get onto my client because I've tried them 1,000 times. Is it true? It's like, well, yeah, that is true. Well, hang on. Did you call reception or did you call their mobile? I just called their mobile. It just makes you stop and think. Or let's think about like negative self-talk. I've always said for as long as I can remember, I really can't travel third world countries because of my diabetes.
Is it true, Brett?
Is it true is the question you ask yourself. You go, not at all. I've done it. It's like I've actually gone to your Southeast Asia and done that, and it was challenging, but I did it. So your words have power, and when you challenge that with those 3 words, is it true? Mate, it unlocks. It unlocks so many things. Like I was talking to another recruiter who has just like later in life come into recruitment, phenomenal for their level of experience, really knows what they're talking about, was saying that my goal is to get to 800K billings, but I'm going to do it in 5 years' time. Therefore, this year I'm only going to do 400. I was like, why is that? Why? Oh, I just, I'm only new to this. I don't think I can do it. I don't want to burn out. And I just said, is that all true? Are you just putting up blocks? And she stopped and went, maybe. She's like, I'm like, you're telling yourself you can't do it because you've never done it before. It doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean you can't do it. You're just putting up a wall, like a block that says, it would be okay if I don't hit it because I expected that,
Almost giving yourself permission not to hit that, right?
100%. 100%. So that is it true? I don't know. It's got a lot of depth, and I think you see it a lot with kids. Like, you know, they're very factual kids. Like, they just say it how they think they see it, but their perception is so bad.
Like things like, oh, I don't have any friends.
Is that true?
Is it true? Oh, actually, no, I do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think kids in particular are very quick to just react to something and not actually think it through, which is, I mean, their brains aren't fully developed. You can understand that. But I think that's so useful as an adult because I sometimes catch myself going, oh, I don't have the experience I need to do this. And then that question, because you ask it all the time, pops into my head, and then I'm like,
is that true, Beth?
And you know what? Even if it is true, doesn't matter. Because what resources do you have at your fingertips to change it?
And I think if anyone's listening at home, it's like self-awareness is a skill. It's an actual skill. And even people who are self-aware could be more self-aware. I know I probably do stuff that just grinds people's gears, and I'm totally oblivious to it, right? But when you're surrounded by people like Beth and they call you on it, it's great. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's like, oh, fuck. Okay, cool. That's good to know.
Yeah.
But if you aren't very self-aware or you're not sure, try and look at other people. Like, when you have people around you in your sphere of influence, and maybe their family, maybe their work, and you hear these like negative limiting talks or beliefs coming out, just ask them, is that true? Is that true? And then they'll stop, because we don't think about the words coming out of our mouth a lot of time. They're behaviors. They're learned behaviors.
It kind of breaks the cycle, doesn't it? Yeah. Because like, you have the negative thought, and then if you allow that negative thought to keep going, eventually that becomes your reality, right? But if you can bring it back and break the cycle, is it true? And go, hang on, actually, no, you're putting that negative thought to rest.
That's it.
No, I like that one.
It's good.
That's a good one. I think you might have trumped me.
Nah, they were all very good. All very thematically linked in some way.
Yes.
Makes sense, given this is the motivation and mindset sort of podcast for recruiters. Well, thank you for jumping on. It was very last minute. I literally texted Beth, said, "You coming in today?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Cool, you jumping on the podcast."
Won't rock up in my activewear for a change.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I hope that helps someone today. As always, like, share, subscribe, helps us grow. Have an amazing day. Make all your deals and motivational mindset, amazing sugar hits come true.